Hello everybody and welcome to episode 4 of the Talk Away A1A podcast. I am your host, Haugh, along with Hexy.
And what we're going to be discussing today is Activison neglecting the hackers and have they made visuals worse?
Does COD need to die to have competition?
Has Haugh got anywhere with his ITX build?
Then we have news, announcements and rumours, including an updated Battlefield 6 teaser. Very interesting stuff.
And everyone's favourite,
Yee Kna. Yeah, that's right. So we are going to be doing that again, which I've actually got a really interesting one this week. So I think not better than Ben's from episode 2, but I do think it's really a really good one. So let's just crack on with the discussion. We have is Activision neglecting the hacker issue and murky visuals. So let's address the murky visuals first. So I think that's going to be a bit more cut and dry. So I'm of the impression that the hacker issue is kind of getting sorted, but kind of not. I think they don't have a system in place to identify it. They're just going based off stats. And now that they have, now that the old skill-based matchmaking site's renamed itself to Warzone Stats, it's not infringing any copyright or anything like that, or any patents. So they're kind of free to do all that stuff at the minute, and it's a lot easier to find hackers based on stats now. So kind of the community is fixing the hackers more so than Activision. We're basically saying this is who they are, and then Activision's like, fine, I'll deal with it. So no, I'm going to disagree and regarding is Activision actually sorting it out. To anyone who says they are, we're sorting it out. So yeah, well, not me, but the community sorting it out. That's kind of how I feel on that. But I think Activision they're not really interested in the hacker situation at all, really. And I think more so the fact that they're just, it's all about the money. It's all about the next game. Because by the sounds of it, Activision has their hands full with the next COD project. This COD project's done. It's making their money. And now they're looking forward to beyond what we have at the moment to kind of get the next one up and running, which is apparently going to be Vanguard, World War II, but we'll have a little look. In terms of the murky visuals, would you like to lead on that one?
Yeah, so, see, I know everyone had an issue with having, things like those on PC with NVIDIA filters and things like that, because they changed the way the contrasts and shadows worked within Call of Duty. Now, I don't know how you felt with the change. I know on a default level, so no filters, not anything, they actually improved slightly. So it was brilliant for people who are on console. But those who do use NVIDIA filters had to make some changes, maybe, and one included. Well, I had a bit of a struggle.
Well, I feel as if the game has, much like all the other Black Ops games, they've kind of made it a bit more cartoony. So Modern Warfare looked really realistic, surreal. Though it had that tint of green, which I didn't really appreciate. It did give it a level of realism. But now it looks like a cartoon. They're bringing in the punchy color palette from the previous Treyarch games, which is fine for the multiplayer games because that's part of the game's identity. The problem is it's not part of Warzone's identity. Feels misplaced on Warzone, if that makes sense. When you put on the filters as well, just to make the shadows look realistic, because they say they've nerfed the rose skin, but the way that lighting works in Warzone, it feels like they've buffed the skin. I never had a problem with the rose skin, honestly. I never had a problem with rose skins until the Season 3 integration with this patch for rose. Now I get caught out by rose just appearing out of shadows, out of nowhere. I get caught by that now, and I didn't before. So I do think that they made the game, it doesn't look worse per se.
Wait, our fix is actually easy, and it's actually turning the shadows from 0 to 100.
Yeah, because
it's actually in reverse. So what I had to do, because what I was doing is I was whitewashing my screen just to be able to kind of see into rooms.
But it meant
awful. It looked awful, yeah. I could see, and it was brilliant, but generally when it comes to fighting and stuff, the edges of the trees and bushes, they had that kind of sort of white aura around them, which made it quite difficult to see people.
Like hazy.
Yeah, so what I did is I was just kind of I was in Superstore and I was just looking, and I was just on the shadows, and I just put the shadows up, and even though I put the shadows up, the grainy overlay of the new Verdansk kind of details and the filters, they kind of reversed, and it made it more clear. So for those who are having struggles, if you actually increase the shadows, it'll make a hell of a difference.
Yeah, I know it does sound really strange, but he's right. It does, and it's like when he first talked about it, I thought, oh, Hexy, you're talking absolute tripe again, man. And then did it, I was like, ooh, that's actually pretty dirty. But I think the game needs the filters. How people are running this on console, I have no idea.
Hats off to them, to be honest.
Must be playing with their TV on monitor settings, you know what I mean? But it looks garbage. It just looks like it's trying to be cartoony. Like with the filters off, it looks like it's trying to be cartoony, but with like a realistic color palette. Like the cartoon aspect and the realism palette don't mix. That's why you've never seen it before. So yeah, I kind of feel sorry for Raven Software on that one, because you know that they would have been told, right, you need to make a lot of changes and change nothing at all. That's the kind of shit that Activision would come out with. Change everything but nothing. It's like,
but they've got to be careful with the fan base as well, though. That's the thing, because making changes in a game like Warzone can send a game left or right. It goes down two different paths.
It really can. So I want to briefly talk about, obviously, the game looking a little bit murky. Now, you're on 1080p, I'm on 1440p, and we both have this is kind of a flex in these days given the crypto mining market, but we have RTX cards. Which is obviously, handy. But with RTX cards comes a setting called DLSS. Now, in summary, what DLSS does is that it's kind of like a super sampling technology, which it'll increase your frame rate with minimal visual degrading quality. So usually to get higher frame rates, you got to turn your settings down, blah blah blah. But DLSS will kind of do that, but kind of in a way where you can't see it's being done. Now, if you use the wrong DLSS setting, you can't tell it's been done, and it looks awful. You see this with the massive outlines around ammo boxes. If you watch anyone who's streaming it,
I've tried it.
It looks horrible. Whereas if you go for a light one, you can barely see a difference. But what it does change, what I've noticed on the 1440 screen, what I've noticed on the 1440 resolution on the DLSS setting for that resolution is that it kind of restricts your long distance view. So everything up close actually looks really, really good. But then, I don't know, past 200 meters, things just look a little blurry, just a little soft, which is obviously where they're pulling the performance from, for me particular. So yeah, it's kind of, I will turn DLSS off. I have done, and the game does look as sharp as what it used to. But you're kind of in this position now where, especially on PC and in our 2KD lobbies, where everyone's running that DLSS, and people who didn't have a frame rate advantage now do.
Yeah. So
you kind of need to run DLSS, because these milliseconds that people can react faster do make a massive difference, especially with the time to kill being as quick as it is at the minute. So that's just kind of how I feel about it. So yeah, I feel as if with the filters are kind of down to the opinion. Some people really like it, some people don't. I think most of your filters are garbage, but you think most of my filters are garbage. But it works for different people.
I don't feel your filters are garbage, but the filters, how they work, depend on your eyes. So everyone has a different filter. Now with mine, with I do obviously the 1080 full HD, and you do the 1440p. When the filters, that doesn't actually make a difference when it comes to the filters. It does with DLSS because of the 2K 4D, 4K, the 2K 4K.
4D, which, you can smell the fear.
but like it kind of refers because it kind of buffers up and down, it upscales and downscales during your game to kind of keep that high peak performance, but it's got to take something away. Now with mine, what I had the issue with was I tried the DLSS on the 1080p full HD because it's a 240 hertz one, so it was more than capable of like a high performance 1080p easy if it got pushed. And what it technically done is it just added that white glare. That's all it was. It was like a white glare. It was kind of like it had a bloom, a black, a white light in the back.
Yeah.
And it made the murky worse.
Yeah. No, that's
what it did. It made it worse. But now that I fixed with played with my shadows and increased all that, my game looks absolutely fine. It looks brilliant.
Yeah.
Like even you'd be happy with it.
Yeah, like it just comes to the fact you got to turn the shadows up, which is like a bit. Are you high? But it's like.
Have you tried it yet?
Yeah, it's like you were talking to us briefly about it the other day. I was like, damn, okay. Because like I say, like I know I'm repeating myself here, and I will move on before like I waffle on, but I did think you were talking absolute garbage. But right, I was like, okay, maybe he's onto something here.
You've got to actually put your exposure back to 0. Because exposure was what something kind of, it give you a little bit of extra white light when you were outside, along with the HDR toning. So if you put that back to 0, turn your HDR toning down, turn your contrast and your gamma back to 0 as well, and then actually increase the shadows. Call of Duty have actually done a lot of the work for NVIDIA, and it's actually less overlays.
Yeah, so that's always very good. But what we'll do is we'll make a video about it, like just comparing my settings to yours and just kind of giving a feel. But like yours is all about frame rate though, so it's going to be a bit hard to translate.
No,
that.
I run high. Yeah,
but you kind of have like a much higher frame rate because you obviously are on 1080p and stuff.
So but a lot of settings what people get confused as when streamers do these settings is that not everyone has a 1440p. I could get one. I was thinking about getting one as well. I talked to you briefly about getting one.
He was in awe when he saw mine.
When people are on 1080p and you put these 1440p settings in, you're not getting the same outcome as what they're getting. So maybe a video of the way we both do things and the slight different changes that we do may actually be helpful for our community.
Yeah, no, exactly. Completely agree. So, yeah, I think NVIDIA filters in general is a brilliant thing. I do actually feel sorry for people on console, and Activision is neglecting the hacker issue by letting us deal with it for us. Why spend money on something that the community is going to do for you for free anyway? But like I say, I think Activision's more concerned about the upcoming COD game because probably for but we'll talk about it anyway. The rumor going around the grapevine is that it is in some state. It's not ready. Usually, when you think about it now, what is it, May? We're coming into reveal time for the game.
September.
Like, no, it's not like a full reveal trailer, but like, you know, like when you usually get like a little 5-6 seconds like snippet. This is the game. We're in that territory. We're in that territory now, and it doesn't look like we're anywhere near that coming out. Which, yeah, I think it is going to be a shit show, if I'm being honest. Sorry about my language, podcast. But, yeah, I think it is looking to go that way. And this kind of neatly leads us on to our next topic. Does COD need to die or have competition? So, obviously, we touched on this a little bit last week. We put a little 2-minute clip up on the channel yesterday. Well, sorry, 2 days ago by the time you guys watched this. So, we kind of briefly talked about that as a teaser to build into this conversation. Does it need to die? What's your thoughts on this, mate?
I mean, my opinion on the Warzone dying is I don't think it will for a long time. But this is due to it needing competition. So we don't want it to die, but we all know we want something more now. We've had Warzone for 15 months. Yeah, it's
oh shit! Yeah, it came out February.
We've had it now. We've played it. They've messed around with it. We've got all sorts of overlays created to get past the terrible settings that they have created. So I do think it needs the competition, because we as gamers need to be intrigued into something. There's only so far you can take a game, and I think Call of Duty has had its limit now. I think it would have went a lot further if it didn't have the hacker issues, or if it had them, but they got dealt with more effectively.
You reckon it could have been the Fortnite killer?
Oh,
I mean, it kind of did.
I can't remember when people talk about Fortnite.
It did become the Fortnite killer, maybe, but it didn't have the same height, didn't have the same peak as Fortnite, though, did it? That's what I'm trying to say. So you reckon it could have hit that level if it addressed these issues early?
And it'd be going. We gotta think Fortnite went for a long time with it being arguably worse game.
Yeah, like just a little bit of perspective here. Why you guys have never seen Fortnite on the channel? Because I think it's awful.
Yeah.
I am not a 12-year-old with a very short attention span. Yeah, but Craig, you play a card. That means you got a short attention. So do you.
You watch it.
You watch it. But no, nah. Without insulting literally everyone, including myself, Fortnite. I just thought. What was I playing during Fortnite, actually? What were you playing during the Fortnite era?
PUBG.
You were playing PUBG? Oh, okay, of course.
PUBG, Apex, Rocket League.
Well, this was before I had the channel, so I wasn't actually playing. That's kind of one of the reasons I made the channel. So I wasn't actually playing much of anything at the time. I wasn't really playing games at the time. If I was playing stuff, it was maybe multiplayer on COD. Blackout, that was cool. I was playing Blackout. That's what I was doing. I didn't like. I really enjoyed Blackout, but I don't feel as if the community took it on as what it probably deserved.
Yeah.
I think it was competition to Fortnite, just in the regards that it's got the Call of Duty name, but I don't feel as if it just lacked that cutting edge, didn't it? It just lacked that
as a battle royale.
It lacked that unique factor. So it had the COD factor, but it didn't at the same time. Like Blackout felt as if it was unfinished, but like everything Treyarch does at the minute. It felt a bit unfinished, but it felt like that had great potential. I think if they fleshed out that as much as they did Warzone, I reckon there's a chance we could still have had Blackout. There's your controversial thing for the day. But when you look back to it, answer the question. This is where it comes from, because you look at Fortnite, you look at PUBG, Call of Duty brings out Blackout. Though it wasn't a Fortnite killer, it did take a significant share of the player base away from Fortnite. Well, not loads, but a lot. However, I would say that it was Blackout that pretty much nearly killed PUBG. Like, once Blackout came out, that's when PUBG, for me, felt like it went on the decline. And then Warzone made that decline be a cliff.
Pretty much.
So, yeah, I think but this is the point. This is when COD's threatened. It comes out with stuff like this. Now, briefly touching on what we talked about last week. When we have when we have COD in a year that it's threatened, or in a year it's expecting to be threatened, we get games like Call of Duty 4. We get games like Modern Warfare 2. We get games like Black Ops 2. We get games like Modern Warfare 2019. When COD is up shit creek, again, sorry for the language, but it's the only way I can describe it, we do get good games. Now, the problem we had the past 2 years now, after it's killed Fortnite, well, it hasn't killed Fortnite, but Fortnite's not the talk of the town anymore. Well, if you're over 16. PUBG's not a thing anymore. It's got a significant market share. It's got a massive player base. It's even took from its own player base in multiplayer. We'll talk about that later. Like, it doesn't feel threatened anymore. So now, when there's these massive hacker issues, they're like, I'm not bothered. You know what I mean? It's all about the money now. They've got your attention. Now it's monetizing that attention. When you start leaving the game and you start playing something else, that's when it will get good. That's when you'll start saying, oh, by the way, we've fixed that hacker problem. Come back.
Well, that's what PUBG did. So the reason PUBG died was because of hackers, pretty much.
Yeah.
There was no, like, because you got to think PUBG, even if you think of it now, the realism of that game is still very accurate. The game is immersive. It's still got great detail, and the game is still brilliant. But they let the hacker problem go on for so long, it lost its player count. Things like Call of Duty come out, and although they haven't completely killed the game off, they still have a player base as such. I mean, you'll still see PUBG on Facebook videos and YouTube videos. It's still very active. However, I did lose a good couple of 100,000 players due to a hacker issue.
Which for a game the size of that that's critical. That's massive.
Is COD eventually going to get the same issue though?
Yeah.
Is another developer going to provide something and protect it and protect its community?
I think it's going to be
and
DICE.
Then eventually kill Warzone down, and that's where I think DICE is coming in. But they are going to.
That's where we're hoping DICE comes in.
Yeah.
Now, don't get us wrong. Scavengers, when that has full release, that could be it. Apex is forever building momentum. That is starting to snowball now. It's getting to a place where it's actually really good. Not just good, but really good. And people are starting to pick it back up. It's actually starting to... Following the last week's news of the Titanfall being free to play, it's went the other way. People who were the die-hard Titanfall fans, they're now moving over to Apex Arena. So Apex Arena is picking up some traction. I'm seeing that all over my YouTube and Twitter feeds and all that stuff now. That's my personal Twitter feed, by the way. I don't have a A1A one yet. But I think that game's doing well. So I don't think, if COD dies, I don't think it's going to be one particular game that kills it. I think it's going to be kind of like the death of Titanfall 2, where everyone's just playing something else. Just because there's other options, and that is where it's going. So, it does need competition. It does need... What would you rather see it happen, though? Would you rather see it die, or would you rather just see competition, like, nudge it in the right direction? Like, what are your hopes and expectations regarding this?
Well, I don't think we're going to get any more changes to Verdansk. Not without a complete new shape and stuff. Because although they did Rebirth, it's pony, to be fair.
Now you say that, but people are all over it. And actually, I want to go through a little thread.
Multiplayer. It's multiplayer with replaceable Juggernaut, if you think about it.
So I just briefly want to go over something I got from Danielle last night. I'm not being ignorant podcast, but I was going to go and find something that Danielle messaged, A1A Danielle. She goes, this is from a subscriber, by the way. She goes, is Perfect Trouble as someone who watches your stream? I goes, indeed. She goes, I thought so. And I was like, why you ask? Goes, just killed me in Rebirth pre-lobby and typed LMAO to me. Guessing it's due to my clan tag being A1A. That was it. I was in stitches. I was in absolute stitches. And then she started getting a bit petty. Goes, I bet he's so proud. I know, this is treachery. It's like, I'm not impressed. I was just creasing me. I was just like, I think that's genuinely hilarious, and that it's great crack. But I said, if it makes you feel any better, he's got me to an actual game of Warzone. Executed my ass after downing me. And she goes, yeah, that does make me feel a bit better, actually. So I was like, yeah. So, Rebirth, it has traction. People are playing Rebirth. Because
people are playing it. In my opinion, though, it kind of takes all the elements out of Warzone. So it kind of gives you the multiplayer feel in regards to, the Warzone feel in regards to having armor. But in regards to when you start talking about the bullet drop and the bullet velocity, you're going at the multiplayer statistics.
Right.
Isn't big enough.
I'm going to disagree with you there.
I don't feel it's big enough. If it was bigger, brilliant. It needs to be bigger.
I'm going to disagree with you here because I don't think you kind of understand what the point of it is. So obviously for us, we always have a squad. Like, we jump in our Discord and then people just will flow through. We're always used to playing in a coherent squad, whereas people who are playing Rebirth, a lot of them aren't squads. A lot of them are usually, if one squad's in there, they win, because literally everyone else is solo. Like, if you're playing the game solo and you want the Warzone mechanics, a chance to get the Warzone victory screen and a helicopter out of the area, and obviously you want the XP that comes with that, Rebirth's the only way to go, because if you're by yourself, you don't want to put 25 minutes, potentially 30 minutes of your time into what could potentially be teammates leaving after they die in Gulag. Like, there is that aspect of it.
Warzone's still the bigger XP maker. It's still the biggest way to generate XP.
But when you're playing alone, it's not the best thing to do, because even in Plunder,
I understand. It gives you that kind of coming back in. Joe, what you get killed, you wait 45 seconds, you come back in.
But if you're by yourself though, like, and you party up with 2 randoms, and they die, they come back. Like, they're not gonna like leave the game, and like leave you 2v whatever when you could have easily won by like 1 extra person having 1 extra bullet. Like, I think
I've played a lot of games solo in that though. Like, your teammates still leave. They do still leave. Well, mine do at least.
Well, not as often, but like, I think the idea. I think obviously Warzone needed its something different when people were playing Plunder. But when you're playing Plunder with not a squad, the map is far too big. Like, you can play Plunder and not find a fight. So in that regard, mate, like, I do think that the game, it's not designed for people like us, Rebirth. It's designed for people, like the slap shots. Maybe it's Donya when they're on their Todd. Maybe it's Perfect Troubler she don't even know their gender. Well, I've always said he, and they've not complained. So, when they don't have a party to party up with, it's designed, in that regard. Like, why would you want to go into Verdansk, which you need every single minute, nuanced advantage you can get just to be competitive in the first round? Yeah. Why would you sacrifice that? Even hackers lose. Why would you go through all that to then risk someone just bailing out on you? Like, why do that? Rebirth, it's a quicker game mode. You get your kicks. It's multiplayer, but with the Warzone mechanic. I do agree, it's like multiplayer in that regard. Like, it's like a 3-man multiplayer. However, I don't think it's just a multiplayer based game, because technically Warzone is multiplayer. Like, Battle Royale is multiplayer.
You don't respawn, and you don't respawn in Warzone.
It feels nothing like 6v6 or Ground War for me. It feels nothing like that. The map is small and it's contained, but I think that's what that game mode needs, because any more and it would be absolute bedlam. So I do think that I quite enjoy the aspect. I don't really play it, but I think that there is a place for Rebirth, personally. And it's actually quite good to get some XP in. Like, like when we rank up guns, and say for example we don't want to play zombies, or zombies has been a bit of a dick, which sometimes it is. It's good to get yourself in there. I mean, it's
good for your Cold War weapons.
It's a bit difficult to get yourself to loadout, like, without getting absolute shafted. But once
if you can get to the loadout,
though, and it's good crack. It is good crack. So yeah, COD does need competition though, and I just think it's a long time coming.
There's one place I'll give Rebirth credit, and that's if you're wanting to improve in your close range combat, SMGs, shotguns, or even quick scoping with a Kar 98K in close proximity, so you're not taking into consideration much of the bullet drop or bullet velocity due to the difference between shooting 100 to 150 meters and the difference between 100 and 600 meters, because the Kar 98K is different gun at different ranges. So if you're going to do a close range and you kind of want to just improve your speed, I can see where it can come from. But as you say, that's if you can get your loadout. Emphasizing on if.
Yeah, but if you don't, you have more fun getting there anyway. Like,
yeah, but I don't know. For me, Warzone's always going to be the better option of Call of Duty. To me, Rebirth kind of felt like, for those who didn't have multiplayer and were complaining that they were unable to achieve certain levels within certain guns. It was obviously slower for those who weren't putting credits or XP or how play multiplayer in like during that time to do their guns up. It's give those who don't have multiplayer a good option to like increase their levels, increase their attachments and stuff on their gun, and still get the opportunity to still get like things like Damascus.
That was something I never even considered, to be honest. Free to play.
Yeah, but because technically that's what it is. When you come into it, just when bullet velocity kind of comes into the play, that's when the map edges kind of, you know what I mean. That's why the map's at its end when those distances for the longer range guns are affected.
Yeah.
And that's just where I feel it falls. So I feel if you go into Rebirth thinking it's going to make you a better Warzone player, don't, because the way Rebirth works is it makes you more of an aggressive player, because you know as long as you've got teammates alive, you're coming back. Where in Warzone, you can have, if you're in a squad of 4...
Would you not argue that people need that, though?
I mean, it's good for the aggression and the confidence, and I'm not going to take that away. I do think some people, like, getting in those situations and using things to give themselves confidence boosts is a great way to build morale. And if you can do it as part of a team, that is also a great way to kind of just better yourselves as a team.
Maybe a warm-up mode?
It more aggressive. It's still too close. That's what I mean. If they give it, say, another 200 meters each way on the map, it would be fine. I wouldn't have an issue with it, and I'd probably play it. But it's too thin. It's way too thin, and a lot of the fights you'll see, they start off and they go left to right, and the teams will always clear the shorter distances first, and then you just look and you move your way on the sides of the map. Those in between just get crushed. If you land in prison, you like, although it feels great at the beginning because there's loads of guns, teams got plenty of ways to kind of hide, so you just keep respawning, which is a great way to play. But realistically, if you're in the middle, you're just getting crushed.
That's the first. That's not the first time I've heard you say and complain about something being too thin. So yeah, it is the size of a large multiplayer map, though, isn't it?
It is.
Which, you know, you do have points there, but I think it's a good training mode for like your flinch, like, you know, your twitch aspects of it. Like, obviously, you're not going to train to snipe unless you're in that tower. You're not going to train to do any long-range combats. You're not going to realistically train team strategy, which is one of the bigger things in the A1A lately. Is when to do what, which, to be fair, is coming along quite nicely now. Pardon me, but no, I don't. I do think it can be a good warm-up game, because, like, when you first play Warzone for the first time in a couple of days, like, for example, in that game that was on the channel on Monday, I think Monday, Tuesday, whatever day that was, like, the warm-up game before the Roo one, before the duos, like, I was all over the place. I got, like, the single bit shot. I was like, "Whoa!" Sorry for the beak. I was like, "Whoa! What's going on?" And I think if I'd played a game of Rebirth before, that would have been taken out my game straight away. Like, straight away. That wouldn't have had time to settle in. So I do think there is a place for Rebirth, and like I say, I think it gives people who can't squad up a chance, or people who just want a bit of a more faster paced game and don't like plunder, because not many people do enjoy plunder. So yeah, maybe it's a topic for next week, is that we could compare the two, plunder and Rebirth, and kind of get a theme. Maybe just get one of the A1A people on if we can't. We do have guests lined up, many who are outside of the A1A infrastructure. Our problem is catching them, because we work, obviously they work, and schedules. It's a bit messy, but yeah, we've tried recording the podcast on a Saturday for the past 3 weeks.
Oh, it was 2, but like a couple of days we we did go a bit earlier.
Episode 1 was a Thursday. Obviously all Saturday releases, but yeah, the crack is we've always just had to do it on the Saturday morning, because there was been no other time we could film it. And what that kind of does is it means I'm editing all day Saturday, or rendering or uploading or whatever, which is why it came out late the past 2 weeks, like at like 10, 11 o'clock on the Saturday instead of 5, half 5, which I want it to be, which we want it to be. So yeah, we're kind of just getting in the habit of I think we only want to film on Saturdays now if we absolutely have to. So yeah, hopefully we can kind of get some guests in over the weekdays, but we've got some plans for that.
Has Haugh done anything with his ITX build? Has he done anything? He said he was building it. He's been looking for a case. Obviously, parts are going to be difficult. We do know Haugh has a collection parts within sort of other people's computers. People have been upgrading.
Graphics card connoisseur.
What have you got back? What case did you choose?
Right.
Are you putting it in a PlayStation 2?
Right. So.
Or is it a microwave?
So I feel as if with this, I'm making 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Or should I say 1 step forward, 2 steps back? That's kind of how it feels at the minute. It's a bit raj, it's a bit mental. So obviously you've seen the video of Pimp My PC where I took everything out of that build and put it in Roo's new computer. The stuff that was left that belongs to me has been taken out. So that's like the Skylake CPU, that's the motherboard, the RAM. Give the RAM back to Joe, I'm not using that. And I think there was something else in there which belonged to me. And that means I'm needing now the power supply, the case, and a drive. Once I've got these 3 things, I'm good. Oh, and a motherboard that'll fit. So yeah, I've picked the motherboard, so the motherboard's fine. Now the motherboard was a challenge because to find a Z170 micro ITX motherboard, obviously they don't manufacture them anymore, which means you've got to basically go with what's left in stock. And the only ones that are left in stock are the Asus Maximus 8s, which for a little bit of perspective, a normal motherboard which does everything you need should cost about 100 quid. You can get them for as low as 80, but then you may be skimping out on some features. This one was about, I think, £380.
But it is a Maximus. The Asus Maximum motherboards are pricey even on the larger scale.
I love Nicole to bits. I love all of my friends to bits, including yourself. Oh, you know, so everyone who would ever use that computer, love you all to bits. I didn't love you that much though. Like, I'm not fucking putting in a 400 quid motherboard when that would be more than what the parts inside are worth now. I'm not having the most expensive component be a motherboard. Be real. Be real.
Yeah, that's understandable.
So what we're going to be doing with that is that I have found a chipset that will support it. It's called H110, H110M I think it is, and it will support the Skylake processor. Don't know how much of a dip in the performance it's going to be, but even if that takes an i7 to an i5, it's still going to be good enough performance for what it needs to do. Yeah, exactly. So it's still like a 8-thread processor. So yeah, I think that's why we're going to go for the motherboard. Finding out all that information about the motherboard was a bit of a pain, but we got there in the end.
What in it was it a 1660?
Pardon? The graphics card.
Oh no, 1070. The
graphics card is going to be a 1070. So we're waiting, or 1650. So basically the crack is with that, we're waiting for either Joe or Connor to buy a graphics card. It's looking to be Connor, because it looks like Connor is in the market of a scalper. I'm not saying Connor is a scalper, but I think whether Connor knows it or not, I think Connor might be talking to one who happens to be a friend of his. So yeah, because it's a bit strange that he's getting a next to new card for MSRP. Very suspicious. So it's looking like Connor, but also Joe, because Joe's been saving up for a graphics card as well, and his birthday will be in August. So maybe if he gets some money there, he might tip it over the edge. It'll be his 21st birthday as well. So you know, it's a big one. So
got an idea on what sort of card he's going for?
Yeah, he wants a 3060.
That's a good gaming card.
He wants a 3060. So yeah, so if Joe gets his graphics card first, it's going to be the 1070. If Connor gets it first, it's going to be the 1650. But once the 1070 is available, I'll be putting that in there. Either way, it's just going to run on 1080p. It's going to be running off a TV most of the time, to be honest. Unless someone wants like the mouse and keyboard experience, then I can plug it into like my third monitor. But
or if I get one of my monitors.
That's by the by. Wait, work give me a monitor actually, which I don't need, so I might just hook that up for it. So
for those that don't know, I've got a lot of monitors.
Yeah, I've got a lot of graphics cards. He's got a lot of screens. But yeah, like this is just kind of how I've processed it. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at the minute. So I've kind of picked the parts. I've got an SF600 power supply sorted out for it. So it's just kind of paying for the parts and cracking on. Really, I've got everything else I need. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm at the plan stage. The only thing I haven't decided is the case, because they all have when you're doing something in such a small space, you do have major flaws. Some of them are that they look garbage, but are otherwise really good. But I want the PC to look good. Some of them cases that look brilliant, but they are super hot. Which you don't really want to put a Skylake into. Oh, and then the third issue, if it's not those two, they are ridiculously expensive, like 300 quid. Now, bearing in mind that, like, you spend close to that money for your case, and yours is big, glass, and magnificent. Obviously, I do think you paid a bit much for it, but by the by, you've got a lot of material there for what you paid for. Same with mine. So the fact that I could be paying double the price of what my case costs with the window for a box the size of a console, I'm struggling to justify that. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. But anyways, let's talk about Roo's PC. Did you watch the video? Did you watch the transformation? Let me know what you're thinking about that.
So I did watch the video. I've been and seen, and I went and actually had a go as well.
Oh, you've been over.
Yeah, he took us up. So not long after we had the conversation, Roo come back down to mine, because I seemed to have left me bank card in his car. When we went, he was going somewhere, and I kind of just tagged along with him. And during that process, I wear jogger pants. I'm not really a dressy up type of guy, so I wear jogger pants. And it fell out. So he come down the next day after we had the conversation and you'd done the build, and he took us up. So we went up. And I'd say, you had a go of it yet? He was like, no, I haven't even played it. I was like, wait, have a gun then, let's have a look. He went, nah, I'm good. I says, what? I was like, are you mad? I was like, have a go, you've just got to build. It's on everything, like Call of Duty's up there, all your settings are done. I mean, his settings were a little bit high, he was pushing the red line, but I reduced the red line for him a little bit.
That makes me proud, the fact that he was pushing that red line though.
Push made it was like that far over. Like I'm sure he had like it was like was it like I'm sure it was like 6,000 or something, and he was like pushing like 8, and like I'm running on 8. Like 8,000.
Yeah, he's only on 1080p 70 hertz though.
Yeah, but he just had everything on high, man. High and all right. He was just fuck it, 40 frames a second. Didn't give a fuck. So we kind of did a little bit of changes and introduced them to NVIDIA filters, and we had a go. I need to actually go up and change that because we need to fix his shadows so you can see fair, because he's going to have that bit of glare, which we can fix that for him. But he didn't have a go and I did, so I had a go.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So a little
keyboard is he?
A little update on his build actually, which you'll be interested in, is the fact that he's bought a fan. He's bought another fan for the back. So yeah.
Why? He's got a fan there on the back, or the one on the top?
Because the one in the back, which I nicked from the old case, that's Connor's. And Connor's wanting to keep that case, and we need to put that fan back in. It's like, well, you're not using it yet, so it's fine. But we wanted the back one anyway, and then we've both agreed what's going to happen is I'm going to put this in the back of his PC, and he's going to want 2 more for the top. So, yeah.
Did he just buy 3 fans?
We just bought the one for now. But he was going to put one on the top. I was like, no, mate, you don't put one on the top. If you can put two in the top, you put two on the top. Because it looks stupid if you don't.
You fill the space.
Yeah,
That's what you
exactly.
fill the space.
A little update. It's now called Blue Lion, which I think's better than just blue. And his little fascination.
Oh,
with,
his little name changed, did he?
and he's got a little fascination with cats. But yeah, we turned that scrapyard PC into something I think is quite unique. So that's just kind of where I'm standing with that. I'm quite happy with the progress and where it's going, and it's nice to have someone on that platform because Dale's PC is starting to look really nice now too. We've got Connor's, he's always had a nice case, to be fair. Like, to begin with, he went very cheap, like budget of the budget, and he's kind of just like eked things up slowly. But his case was a good buy. So his case does look nice. He's got some lights in there now, which you can control via a remote. I think he's got a Wraith Prism in there now, if I'm not mistaken. So he's starting to splash out a little bit, and obviously he's in the market for a graphics card at MSRP. So yeah, I think things are coming along quite nicely for him. But let's get moving on. So then, Hexy, I believe you are very interested in our next topic. The Battlefield one.
Oh, Battlefield. So I am very interested in Battlefield. So the reason I'm very interested in Battlefield, I've managed to patch some notes here. But the main reason is because I feel this is going to be Call of Duty's competitor. This is going to be the game changer for me.
It always has been for multiplayer.
Yeah, but I think where DICE have went wrong has always been with release timing, like kind of the same as Titanfall. They've always kind of had a like in between Call of Duty and FIFA, and for publishers like EA and DICE, so on and so forth, like FIFA, it's football, so that's already got its own market straight away, and that kind of overpowers when Call of Duty comes out as well. When it comes to Battlefield,
it's delicate, isn't it? A delicate balance.
Yeah. And this kind of comes to things like graphics and stuff. Technically, when it comes to PC players, like to run Battlefield, you generally got to have a pretty decent machine because of just generally how massive the maps are, how many vehicles, how many people, and all that stuff. This generation for the graphics are looking amazing. I've looked at some trailers, I watched their release, and it's blown my mind. I know I made you watch some. I kind of been prompting you all week, like, look at these, and it's coming. It's coming in 2021, being confirmed that it's coming.
It's coming in 2021. This is news to me.
I mean 2022.
I was gonna say.
2022, So it's coming 2022.
I wasn't ready.
2022. So it's not going to be out in between the September and December where it normally is. And so I think they're doing the right thing by kind of releasing it early year. Call of Duty is normally expected around about September time anyway. Don't think we're going to get that this year anyway. There'll be some sort of...
I think it could be a September release, not September, a December release.
What, for the new Call of Duty?
I really do, because, like I say, rumour on the grapevine is that it is in a shocking state. Worse so than what Cold War was at this stage of development. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a late one. But I think, just based on what you've said, I reckon they're going to release that around the time of the Warzone integration. Like, proper integration. Because they'll have to kill Verdansk again if they're wanting to do what they say they're wanting to do. So I reckon they're probably going to time it around then. Like, ooh, look at us, we've got a brand new Warzone map. And it's like, well, we've got a brand new Battlefield. So I can see it going that way. I kind of hope it does, to be honest. Like, it'll force COD to be better, but...
And I believe the cross-platforming at this time as well. So it's going to be cross-platform for the new generation consoles, all Generation 5 compatible, and those using Generation 5 consoles and PCs.
So just for context, Generation 5 is basically PS5, Xbox, whatever that's new one's called, and PC. That's Gen 5. So your Xbox One, is that Gen 4? Xbox One and PlayStation 4 aren't
below.
and below aren't going to be compatible with crossplay, which
No,
I know this sounds horrible. I know this.
They are cross-platform. So PS4, Xbox One, they're still cross-platform. But in regards to the effects and the immersive feel, the sound effect, all the graphical stuff, you're not going to get as good quality through those previous generations. So we're still getting them. We're still getting it across the platforms. All the platforms are able to play. Those on the lower end of the spectrum, if you're still playing PS4, Xbox One, it's not going to be great. It's going to be chuggy. You're probably going to have frame rate issues. You're not going to be getting anywhere near 60 frames per second. It's not really going to be worth it for you. But for the new generations, you should be getting them anywhere between 55 to 60 on the new consoles, and PCs are above and beyond as what
they'll probably have a really good DLSS as well, because Battlefield does work quite close with Nvidia when it comes to their games. Like, just for context, like Activison doesn't, COD by result doesn't. So when games that are actually partnered with a graphics card company actually get their fingers out and work with the graphics card company, that's why you're able to get games that look as beautiful and as crisp as Battlefield for not that much of a performance hit. And they usually Nvidia usually develop new technologies on likes of Battlefield games as well. So I think it's good for everyone that this Battlefield game's coming out, and it's going to be a breath of fresh air. And you were on about expanding the A1A. Now, what do you mean by expanding the A1A? Because with every subscriber, we expand the A1A. So do get into that.
So I feel like I do think Battlefield is going to be it's. But you got to think Battlefield's going to be a game where we're going to be playing very similar things like Battle Royale, apart from the physics of the game are going to be a lot more realistic to what Call of Duty is. So you're talking, there's going to be helicopters, there's going to be jets, there's going to be tanks, there's going to be vehicles, quad bikes, and so there's going to be so much more. You're talking battle boats as well, destructible buildings. So no more problem for campers in the Warzone environment, because you can just run buildings through with the tank, which is excellent. So fuck you guys.
Oh, hey.
And also there's also the opportunity to just fly into buildings when taking one for the team, or just blasting them out. It's just going to be brilliant. But with these sort of environments, there's bigger teams. We do play, even with Call of Duty, we play multiplayer occasionally, where if there's 5, 6 people, 7 people in Discord, we'll choose the relative multiplayer option. But with Battlefield, I believe it's because it's always been a tier your gun. You use your gun, you unlock attachments, and that's kind of how you progress your gun going forward, just like you do in Call of Duty. So I still feel that there's still going to be like some aspect of leveling the rifles, and you're going to be able to do that whether you're playing the Battle Royale mode or the multiplayer mode. So even when we're going to multiplayer, I mean, there's 64 players. You could easily get like
that's per team now, isn't it? That's 64 players per team, which means the maps are going to be massive. And the way I kind of feel about it is, I'll let you come back onto this, but the way I feel about it is that people are now used to long maps. And I think that's what put people off the likes of Battlefield 4, Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5. The scope kind of a little bit overwhelming for people to kind of get themselves into. But now that people are used to big maps like Verdansk, the Scavengers map, which is huge, GTA, which is huge,
even poo games like Minecraft,
Apex, and what's the other one? Apex, Fortnite. People are now used to PUBG,
like No Man's Sky and stuff like that.
Yeah, people are now used to playing on massive maps, and now you've kind of got the issue where people don't want the small maps anymore, which has always kind of backfired on Battlefield in the past. But now there's a market for absolute huge, massive maps and scope. So I think this is actually going to suit Battlefield now, which is really, really, really exciting to me. So I'm kind of the mindset that I think that maybe, if done properly, that multiplayer for Battlefield 6 might not be a Warzone killer, but it might be a Battle Royale killer. I'm kind of that way inclined to think, because that's huge. 128 players on massive maps. That can't be understated. So, yeah, my only concern is that the game needs to release well. I think the past 2 or 3 games that have come out on the Battlefield front have always had really shocking first day problems. So, yeah, I'll let you get back onto what you were saying.
Yeah, so increasing the size of the A1A. So I feel with a game like Battlefield, and although we have more players as a community, we have more players than what we generally need for Call of Duty. And obviously, anyone who subscribes to things like the A1A channel is also a part of the community, which is great. But what eventually we're going to be needing for things like keeping the channel, I would imagine keeping the channel going in the direction, if we choose to go down the Battlefield route, is that we're going to need a few faces, I'd imagine. A few people in there.
Because
who can come in and maybe even have the opportunity to become like a regular person, and be a regular part of the team. Because although you're a part of the team, if like for subscribers and followers, and even just the general public, when you come and you like, we'll love all ears, but at the same time, we're gamers. At the same time, we need people to play with.
Yeah, which is kind of where Warzone kind of is a bit of an issue. Well, not an issue, but Warzone's not really supportive or accommodating of that, because you can only have realistically 3 teammates. I know you can play quads, but no one likes quads. So realistically 3. So we've got an A1A, we got a Discord full of people, and we can only pick realistically 2 people. And to be honest, it's usually, I don't know how you feel about this lately with the changes, but lately it's first come first served. In Discord, first 2 in there, right, cool, that's your game. Maybe do a 4th, like just once in a while, a couple times a week. It's not a main thing though. Usually if you jump in to be 4th in a Discord, you're usually going to be saying, we love you, but no. So yeah, whereas with Battlefield, if there's going to be bigger teams, that's going to be bigger scope, because the A1A, in my opinion, is at its best when we have loads of people in a party and we have a lot of good chemistry. And you've also got to consider the fact that not everyone's going to migrate to Battlefield either. Some people might choose to stay on COD, which is fine. We might stay on COD. We're just hoping that Battlefield 6 is the game that we migrate to.
I'm hoping to my mind.
I'm hoping to have my mind blown.
I'm on the edge of my seat. I rock for those videos every day now.
Like, my mind's hope, basically, yeah. We want this game to kill COD, which means if it kills COD, we go to it. But if it doesn't kill COD, then we'll stay put. And you gotta remember that these big maps aren't for everyone. Might be too big in scale, but I genuinely do think that the market is going towards big scale maps, and I do think that that's something that we need to be ready for. So yeah.
I think the Rebirth players won't migrate. So those who do enjoy the multiplayer aspect of Call of Duty and Rebirth, I don't think those will migrate, or they may migrate for the multiplayer in the Battlefield. There may be a couple of Battlefield.
We do need to talk about is multiplayer dead, so we are cracking on for time. So we'll have to do that one next week. But just continuing the Battlefield trend, I do think you're absolutely right. So yeah, but I don't know. Do you think it's going to be the Battle Royale killer, or do you think I'm pushing it? Do you think I'm being too optimistic? Too many high hopes?
I don't think it's too many high hopes. No, I think it's going to dominate it for a long period of time. You got to think, DICE, they've had the time now to sit back and watch the other battle royales. So they've been, if they choose to do so, they can choose the best option from each individual game, and they could combine them and make an amazing battle royale, which essentially may kill another one off. Realistically, I don't think it'll be Call of Duty that dies. It'll definitely take a hit. Definitely take a hit. Especially from the PC community. The PC community's always been a little bit more for Battlefield than against it. And that is because immersive gaming. So it's always been like, these maps are huge. I want to go on. I want to hit that 700-meter shot.
Yeah.
On Battlefield, sniping's it's a lot harder. There's a lot more.
It's a lot more rewarding though.
Oh yeah, and you get the little medals. Pop, 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 pop. Ting, 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 ting.
Little medals, instant gratification.
Yeah. Instant. Do you know what? You've done this.
Yeah.
Not downed 500 meters.
They get
Revive.
res, blah blah blah. Yeah. Because you still get the kill credit anyway when you knock them, don't you? Like even if they do get revived by a medic, you get the kill. Even if they get back up, you get the kill. So
and it's instant bump, headshot down.
Yeah, I think that's great.
ARs going back to single shot AR headshots. Ooh, kind of weird.
Filthy. Now next on the news announcements and rumors is the crypto decline. So basically, Elon Musk, who does the Tesla stuff, basically said you cannot buy my vehicles with cryptocurrency. What happened to the cryptocurrency market price? Straight down. It was a massive dip. And I believe this was on Wednesday night. It was Wednesday night this happened. Well, it would have been Wednesday afternoon if you're over in the US. But that was huge. And that killed, well, it didn't kill cryptocurrency obviously, but it made a big dent. So that's basically kind of showing how volatile the cryptocurrency market is. And I do think a little bit of confidence has been lost in cryptocurrency after that. Now we do have Biden, who's trying to regulate the market, which I was talking to Seven actually. That's SXVXN. Yeah, that guy. I talked to that guy. And we're both in agreement it should never happen. It should never happen. Like, the US government can't regulate the world's wallet. It's impossible. However, stranger things have happened. So yeah, there seems to be a bit of a war on cryptocurrency at the minute, but you would think it came from the gamers, but it's not. It's coming from these business owners, and I think it's basically down to the fact that they want to regulate this market because, again, Seven put it perfectly, like, people who have cryptocurrency, people who are on this mining thing, they're millionaires on paper. They're billionaires on paper. They have tens of thousands of pounds for some people on paper, you know, in like assets, which is how most rich people have their wealth anyway, in assets, not actual cash in the bank. Whereas they want to regulate this so that the actual billionaires can control the market, because that's what the rich people do and the people in power do. They want control, and they want to try and control this.
Because control is power.
Because control is power, and power is key. And if you want to be in power, you need keys, and control is how you get those keys. So yes,
on paper money these days.
So yes, people who are in the cryptocurrency, they're rich on paper until they sell, and obviously the actual billionaires don't want anyone to be rich on paper. They want the full control of the market. So the market is kind of, you see Elon Musk trying to cancel out the market by doing that. So yeah, crypto decline, that happened, just so you know. Now, I think the knock-on effect, if this continues to happen, is that the market is going to be flooded with second-hand graphics cards, which is then, it's not going to fix the stocking issue, because the stocking issue is not down to scalpers as much as you think it is. It's down to an actual shortage in supply of the parts to make the graphics cards. Not the graphics card shortage itself, but the parts to make the graphics card. They don't have the infrastructure for it. They could manufacture more graphics cards quickly, but they can't do it because the people who designed the chips can't create the chips quick enough, because there's a shortage of the materials for that. So yeah, just a little
import-export goods for those that don't know.
Yeah, so yeah, that's just a little bit of an update on what's going on in the crypto market. Now we need to talk about a certain someone finding their way home. Now, I cut this from the last podcast because, we have a limit of 1 hour 15, which we're getting close to now, 10 minutes, but we're getting there. Now, we had to cut about a 6-7 minute segment about your cat, which had went missing. It was fine. The summary was the cat was fine. The cat was coming back to the outside and obviously messing up the bed and having some biscuits and then disappearing again. Even the window was left open. Just the cat wasn't interested. It had been locked up for 5 weeks after the moving house, and it wanted to just get out there. Eventually, your cat has come home.
So yeah, so he didn't actually come back here though. So he went to the original owner. So I got a phone call last night. From Coffee. Coffee rang us, and I didn't even have his number. And I was looking, I was kind of just, I thought, I'll try and have a few games tonight. I'll see how I feel. And I was having a few games, and I was speaking with Trojan, who used to be Tasty Bathwater, sitting there, and we're just about to jump on Rocket League, and get a phone call. Your cat's here, mate. And I was like, oh, all right. I was like, where's that? And he was like, wait, my house? I was like, and where's your house? And he was like, you know where I live? I was like, yeah, who is it? He was like, it's Coffee Man, you dickhead. Sorry for those. That's what my cat name is though, so sorry for saying that. But yeah, so I went straight around 12 o'clock at night. He was eating the dog biscuits because obviously Coffee doesn't have any food for him because he doesn't have any cat, because I now have the cat. But he was away for like 5-6 days, and he's asleep now on the sofa, like where he always sleeps. But yeah, so I brought him home, and he's like just pretending nothing happened. He just doesn't care. Like he come in, I let him out with his cat basket thing that we carried him in, and he was just like meowing. I was like, oh, he's obviously hungry, so I give him some cat biscuits, full pouch of food, like he scranned it all. Went back up at like 1 o'clock in the morning or something. Food bowl was empty. I was like, oh, just give him some biscuits in case he's a bit peckish. Boom, straight in. Munched them all up, drank all his water, and he's been asleep ever since.
So he's kind of like put himself in a little food coma, bless him.
Yeah.
So, will you be letting him out again, or is he now a domestic cat?
No, he's domestic eyes in the house.
So he's gonna be.
He doesn't know yet.
You're grounded for life.
Yes, no, I lost so much sleep. Like a lot of people think, right? It's a cat. Do you know what? He's an outside cat, and for the first 2-3 days, wasn't worried outside. He's a good hunter. Gets birds, he gets mice. He feeds, obviously. But 4th day, 5th day, like I was just not sleeping, man.
Yeah.
not sleeping. I nearly didn't get up this morning. Like I was out for the count. Like I was sleeping sound knowing that cat was there, and he was literally asleep on my pillow there as well. Like he's sleeping a lot closer to us now, so I do feel like he has missed things. Some things have changed. It's only been a night, but he wants to be closer to us a lot more now. He was like trying, like there was things he wouldn't do, so he would not, like, he's not a lap cat. He'll lay beside you, but not on you. He was trying to like kind of lie on us and stuff last night, so I think he's known, and he's gotten a bit worried, and he's kind of like, crap, I need to go home. And then he's lost, and he's managed to find a way. They only live like around the corner, you know how close it is, Craig.
Yeah.
And I think he's managed to just hear the roads or something, and it's just something familiar because he hasn't been there since February. So how he got there, I don't know, but he's managed to get there, and they've rang and he's come back. He's safe. He's safe, and he seems happy. So
that's the important thing. That's great. Like the fact you've got your cat back, and you can see in yourself you got a bit more of a buzz about you. So yeah, no, that's good, and one less thing to kind of have withdrawal from as well. On that note, however, swiftly moving on. We kind of ended on a positive note, and let's end on another positive note. It is time for everyone's favourite, Did Yee Kna? So, Hexy, start us off with your fact of the week.
What should we go with? Right. So, did you know that the tallest man is actually only 8 feet 11 inches? I mean, I say it like it's small, right? But it's extraordinary height for anybody. But it was actually done in between 1918 and 1940. Tallest man ever recorded was 8 feet 11 inches.
I expected it to be a bit more, to be honest. Are you sure that's a fact?
Mm-hmm. In between the year of 1918 and 1940, that was the tallest you could go.
Oh, right then. Back then. Yeah. I thought you meant now. Okay.
No, kids these days are born at 8 feet 11 inches. I mean, like I walk, and there's a kid going, "Yeah, mate, will you get some tabs?" And I'm like,
What?
When did you hit puberty?
I haven't. I haven't yet, mate.
I was born with a shit.
Kids popping out now with beards and tabs in their mouths.
Oh yeah.
Like 6 feet tall.
What about you, Mr. Hough? What is your did ye nah for the day?
So this one's courtesy of my colleagues at work, actually. And I didn't know this. So, did ye nah that they put pickles on McDonald's burgers to stop them being classified as desserts? Otherwise, they have too much sugar and they would be classified as desserts. And it's taxed a bit more.
Yes, I did know. I used to work at McDonald's.
Yeah, man. I didn't realise, like, I didn't think that was a thing. So, I always ordered...
So, that happened not long after the whole Jamie Oliver debate.
Okay.
With school foods and stuff. So that's when they started putting, like, you know, like hygiene caps and all. Like, it started getting really serious about the food and what people were putting into their bodies. Can you remember that at school?
I do. They got rid of turkey twizzlers. I was foreman. Foreman.
Yeah, so that's actually where it all come from. So with all that, they had to have, like, they do weights in their food, so they have to have so much grams of lettuce per meat patty and stuff like that, and that's what transitions it from being classed as like a dessert to an actual burger.
That's just mental though, isn't it? Like, that blew my mind. Like, it's like, are you talking tripe? But then, like, I googled it, I was like, what? That's actually for real. Like,
have you seen the oldest McDonald's meal? It's like still
yeah,
like,
it's been preserved, hasn't it?
It hasn't even been preserved though. It's just been left in its normal wrapper. Like, it hasn't been coated in anything. It's like it looks like it went off yesterday. Like, it's pretty much still alive. Burger's still brown, man. It's not even grey.
Like,
what the hell?
It's all the sugar in it preserving it, right? Is that what the crack is?
Yeah.
I didn't realize those burgers were full of sugar or full of anything like that. Like, I just always thought it was obviously not good for you, but I thought it was full of salt more than anything else.
But there's a lot of. They say it's 100% beef, but they're obviously adding something, right? Like no offense, but like, I've had mince in the fridge go off quicker than that, and that's 100% beef. And I've had British beef and all sorts, and even that's went off. So if I compact that together, whack it on either side and just cook it, you're saying that'll last forever? Because I don't think it will.
Yeah, yeah, fairs. Well, that's
my ass.
But anyways, guys, that's gonna wrap up the podcast for this week. So hopefully it's made it to you on time and been commenting throughout. So what do you think? Do you reckon we should preview this one actually? Not preview. Premiere this one.
Premiere. Sounds very posh.
Sounds posh, this one. But how do you feel about a premiere podcast on Saturday?
A premiere podcast, I do like it.
Yeah, should we premiere it? Have a little bit of a chat going on on the side.
Make it all sleek.
Make it all sleek and professional. So yes, guys. Well, you guys will know if we did that. And if we did do that, put the hearts in. Give us hearts in the chat. Come on, give us some hearts wherever the chat is. Be this side, wouldn't it? Give us all that jazz. Give us the hearts. But no, guys, thank you very much for taking part and actually watching all the way through to the end. It does mean a lot to us, and we're glad that you enjoyed the content. We're going to keep on putting this out, and like we say, we do have guests on standby. It's just kind of booking them into a time slot to actually get them on.
And we don't want to skip podcasts either, so we don't want to like not provide you guys with a podcast or conversations or topics or just ways to kind of say what we've been doing throughout, like the times where you don't see us online and stuff. So that's the main reason for it. So we'll keep doing the podcast whether we get the guests or not, and we'll always keep trying to get someone on for you. Well,
exactly.
We don't want to come across that we're kind of just like nagging people to like come on for you. Like the people we want them to want to be here, for you to get the best experience, for you to also get to see them for who they really are, not their personas, sort of thing. So you get to see them for who they really are, why we like them as well, and why we connect to them, and what they can bring to you as well. Yeah,
exactly. So there is a lot to look forward to, everyone, in the coming weeks. We've got some topics. So next week we'll be talking about the topic, is traditional 6v6 multiplayer dead? and whatever news and all that jazz that happens along the way. But until then, guys, I've been Shadow's Reign, this has been Hexy, and we will see you in the next Talk Away A1A podcast. Peace. Yeah.